Often before I eat a meal, I will just thank God for the gift of the day and also thank God for the food that I'm about to eat. And one friar will repeatedly say, thank God that we can eat. Einstein has a quote that says we can look at life from two different perspectives. One is where we see nothing as a miracle, and the second one is where we see everything as a miracle. So I'd like to take life from everything as a miracle. you know, even the fact that we're alive, the fact that we can eat is a miracle. I remember one time visiting a gentleman in extended care, and he was fed through a tube that entered into his stomach, and he just longed to be able to go to a burger joint and have a burger. It's something that we can easily take for granted. In the gospel reading, we witness the presence of the resurrected Lord. And once again, he greets the disciples with a very common greeting: peace be with you. Hi, in other words. But the disciples are awestruck and they think that they're seeing a ghost. So Jesus does something very practical, and he eats something before their eyes to show them that he is not a ghost, that he is alive and well. This is the great promise for each of us. One day our bodies will be transformed to being risen and glorified like Jesus. This is the great promise. This is the great triumph of love that we can always hold on to. And life itself will bring all kinds of trial and tribulation. We can see the trials going on in our world, and yet love will triumph in the end. And this is really what Peter's emphasizing in our first reading from the Acts of the Apostles. Is, the people were responsible for putting Jesus to death, the author of life. You have put the author of life to death. Now, of course, he could have smothered the people with this, but there was a way out. This is part of the good news, is we are never under a trap. As the second reading points out, is that God will help refrain us from sin, but then when we do sin, we have an advocate. In other words, we can always turn to God. We can always repent and receive mercy and goodness. Because God is too busy loving us than getting caught up in all the sins that we commit in the world. And so as we gather around the table, Lord, we can just simply see this as just the same old, or we can see the miracle of this great sacrament that God has blessed us with. And in this sacrament, we will give thanks. We will have hearts transformed. Giving thanks is probably one of the easiest ways to have our hearts transformed. And what a blessing it is as we witness this great miracle of our brother Jesus being present to us, so that we can be present to others. We can witness the miracles around us and in us, and we can celebrate and encourage one another through the mercy of our loving brother, Jesus Christ.